Hey guys, in this video, we're talking tennis elbow. We've got a real patient here with a sore elbow right now, and I'm going to take you through the biggest mistakes I see as a physio with tennis elbow management. I'm going to show you 5 ways that you can sort this very chronic and painful issue out yourself at home. It's going to be a longer video, but watch right through the end, or you can skip ahead if you like. There's a really cool tip at number 5, so I'll leave that one right to the end. But firstly, what is tennis elbow? So tennis elbow is an overload of the tendon on the outside of the elbow here. Now, anyone can get this. Tennis players do get a lot, but interestingly, it's mostly beginner and intermediate tennis players. Why? Because they grip their racket much harder than the professionals. Interestingly, really advanced tennis players get medial elbow pain on the inside, which is actually called golfer's elbow. So top tennis players get golfer's elbow and beginner tennis players get tennis elbow. But you can also develop tennis elbow or lateral elbow pain from gardening or any overuse, even mousing excessively with a lot of tension. It's related to gripping, and it's the tendon itself down here at its insertion that causes most of the issues there. So now we know what it is, you need to know whether you've got it. And there's a couple of quick tests that you can do on yourself or with a partner. The first one is with the elbow straight. I'm going to get you to squeeze my fingers there hard. And okay, right, and so that's sore. How sore out of 10? 0, nothing, 10 extreme?
5 or 6.
5 or 6, so pretty painful on the squeeze test. The next test is the third finger extension test. And these are the 2 most common tests, but they're not the only ones. So again, with the elbow straight, what I'll get you to do, Grav, is push up with your third finger. So just lifting that third finger up and push up hard against me. Push, is that sore?
Yeah, sore as well.
Yep. Out of 10?
Again, 5 to 6.
5 or 6 out of 10. Okay, so you can use those as a gauge to see your progress. So that's not an exhaustive list of tests. There's others you can do. Certainly feeling and palpating it is something else you can look at as well. So now we've got a confirmed case of tennis elbow. Perhaps the 2 biggest mistakes we see here at the clinic, so don't make these, is number 1, massaging the actual sore spot. So whilst it's tempting to rub the sore spot, the tendon does not like that. So whatever you do, do not massage anywhere around the head of the radius and the lateral elbow here. The only safe spot to massage is this zone down through here. Yes, these muscles will be tight and it's worthwhile massaging them, but do not massage there. That's mistake number 1. Don't fall into that trap. Mistake number 2 is getting a cortisone injection really early. Cortisone injections were popular in the 90s, and a lot of doctors will still typically go to as the first port of call. We know from the research very clearly that a cortisone injection will certainly relieve pain quite quickly, which seems like a good thing. However, at follow-up at 12 weeks, so 3 months down the track, the patients that typically have a cortisone injection are worse than those that don't. It also tends to disrupt the tendon structure and makes rehabbing something like this a lot harder. So don't massage it and don't get a cortisone if you can. All right, so tip number 1 for lateral elbow pain or tennis elbow, and that is relative rest. And I use that word really importantly, relative. Total rest does not fix a tendon. We know that. It requires some sustained load to overall strengthen the tendon, because remember, any tendon problem typically is a mismatch between these 2 things. So the load is far above the tendon capacity. If you ask this much of your elbow tendon, but your tendon capacity or strength or ability to resist or handle that load is only down here, then you're going to have an imbalance, and that's going to lead to overload of that tendon. So part of our rehab, which you'll see in later tips, is to strengthen the tendon up. But we can't do that rapidly when the tendon's inflamed and really irritated. Even if the tendon cells are not inflamed, usually it's sensitized. So option number 1, we need to decrease the load. We need to bring it back down to where the tendon can handle it, but not complete rest. We don't want to be down here. We want to use it still a little bit. We don't want to be afraid of using it, but we need to really drop it down. So any aggravating activities, If you're playing tennis, you probably need to take a short break from that and bring it down to here. So reducing the load down to a manageable level is tip number one. Tip number two for tennis elbow, and that is a tennis elbow brace. You can use tape or you can use a brace. This is our favorite brace because it's got a really nice firm spot that will actually press down on the forearm. Now there's a few mistakes that are made with these as well, and I'll show you how to minimize those. So slide it on. This is typically the sore spot up here with tennis elbow, right up here. You do not want this little brace to press anywhere near that because it's the same as massaging. It compresses the tendon. So we're going to bring the brace about 3 fingers down from the elbow crease, and it needs to be quite firm. And so this has got a bit of elastic or give in it in this particular brace, which is another reason why we like it. And then we put that on there. Does this fix the tendon problem? No, but it's an important pain reliever. Certainly which is important for patients usually. They want to reduce their pain. And it just takes a little bit of pressure off the tendon and allows us to rehabilitate a little faster. To test if it's in the right spot, we go back to our same tests again, so elbow straight. We push that 3rd finger back up again. And how does that feel now, Grav?
Around 3 or so.
Perfect. So that's a typical response. We've dropped from about a 5, maybe even a 6. We've dropped down to about a 3. Hasn't eliminated it, but it's certainly reduced the pain. And that's a meaningful reduction in pain. So we know it's in the right spot. So that's tip number 2. Okay, our next tip is an isometric hold. Now what we're really doing here is loading the tendon back up again, but in a fashion that doesn't aggravate things. And it might be a little shocking to you, but depending on where your tendon is at, we actually want to use quite a heavy weight for this one. So we've gone with 6 kilos because this patient can handle this amount. I'll show you in a second. But you can use anything for this. You can use a kettlebell, you can use a shopping bag, you can use a bucket with a decent handle on it that you can hold on to easily, and you can put water in it and vary the weight that way. We want to be in a sitting position like you're seeing here, with the elbows bent and supported on the arm of the chair. And we're going to put the weight up in this position here. So Grav, I'll get you to flex your wrist up here, and you're going to hold on to that in that position there. I know it's quite heavy. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Good. And we start our timer. This is an isometric contraction, which means we're not going up and down. We're literally just holding in that position there. So that position does something special at the tendon. It puts load into the tendon, a tensile load, and it typically won't aggravate. We're getting a little bit of shaking here, so he's working hard. How's your pain out of 10?
Again, 3 or so.
3, good. Is it getting worse as you hold?
It's starting to open up a bit, but it's just getting a bit more difficult.
Good. Here or up in here?
Up, close to my elbow.
Okay, that's fine. As long as the pain doesn't go up and stays under a 4, we're happy. If it's too much, if it's over a 5, we need to drop the weight down. Good. And just looking at the clock there, we're at 45 seconds, and that'll do just nicely. So that was getting heavy. So that's certainly right at the limit of what this elbow can handle right now, 6 kilos. 5 would probably also do the trick, but don't be scared to go quite heavy there. It's usually heavier than most patients think. Dosage, we want 3 lots, 3 sets of at least 30 seconds, ideally 45 or 60-second isometric holds. That's stage 1 strengthening, really, really important, and it's often what is missed out of a lot of tendon programs when I see them in the clinic. All right, for our next tip, we're not at the elbow. As you can see, we're up here in Grav's neck, and if you're wondering why on earth I'm up in his neck when he's got an elbow issue, that's because a large percentage, depending on the research you look at, even up to 60% of tennis elbow cases have got a nerve component. So the nerve that supplies the tendon and the lateral elbow comes from the neck area up here and is often sensitized in these clients. And if your elbow is not responding to some of the other treatment techniques, then typically that nerve will be really grumpy. And what I'm doing here is mobilizing Grav's neck, making that nerve a little happier and addressing the cervical spine component. So yes, this is hard to do yourself. I'll show you something you can do in a second, but you may need an expert physio or health professional that can work on the neck up in here. Great. So, Gaurav, I'll get you to sit up and I'll show you something you can do yourself. So, there you go. Great. So it's very hard to mobilize your own neck, but as I mentioned before, physio can. Something you can do yourself is a little exercise that gets all the nerves moving. And we call this one swimming or breaststroking through seaweed. Okay, so just entertain me here and go along with me here. So you can go out this way. We're breaststroking, we're coming in and around, and imagine going through a big bed of seaweed, just swimming underwater, breaststroking. So we want big, nice, relaxed movements. Yes, we're doing both arms. And feel free to push the seaweed a little wider. So you're going a little wider, and then pull it in a little bit narrower as well. And we'll go high, so up higher, good. And then down low, so breaststroking down low through the seaweed. Perfect, good. Now what this does really nicely is a gentle, easy to do neural glide. It's getting all the nerves that come out of our neck, down our arms, supplying the elbow, gets them mobilized and moving. So try that one for yourself and I think you'll notice a difference. Okay, our last tip, and remember I said I'd save the best for the last. This is a lateral glide of the elbow. There's a lot of evidence for this. It reduces pain immediately. It does then allow you to load the tendon much more, and it does, in my experience, help patients move faster through their rehab. It's a little tricky to do yourself. It's easy as a therapist to do it to someone, but I'm going to show you exactly how. So I've got a Gaurav here blocking up against the wall there. He's got a towel in his hand. Now what he's going to do is apply a lateral glide to his elbow. So you can use a grip like so, just down from the little crease here. Yeah, good, yep. Can use this grip, or let me show you this one. If we come in here with the palm of the hand and pushing across there. So again, it doesn't need to be a lot of force. Which one feels better to you, the first one? First one, yeah. Good. Okay, so applying a glide, pushing across here, and then adding a squeeze in, hold 3 seconds, and release. Tell me about pain whilst doing that.
It feels much better.
Nice, okay. Score out of 10?
Maybe 2.
Perfect, so that's what should happen. With the glide applied here, it reduces the pain because the compression on the tendon changes. And then we add a squeeze 3 seconds, release. Another squeeze 3 seconds, release. We do 10. Why? Because again, that gets us to over that 30-second threshold, which is something magical for tendons. They seem to respond better around about that time frame. So 3-second squeeze holds. Only grip as hard as the pain is under control. So again, under 4 out of 10, and it easily is. Good. So that is a lateral glide. That's a really secret technique. I don't see a lot of people doing that themselves. We use it in the clinic a lot, makes a massive amount of difference, and it's research-based. Thank you for watching this far. Those tips should make a huge difference for your tennis elbow if you apply them all. If you need our help, we're here at the clinic, or if you want to message us, pop in the comments below and we'll come back to you, and make sure you follow and subscribe for more tips like this. Thanks for watching.